All right. So, Grizz, who are you and what do you do?
All right, so I've been in the simulation industry for 13 years. Currently, I'm a subject matter expert for our current client on AR, VR. So essentially, what that means is I use my talents to create baseline applications, both in virtual reality and augmented reality. And I also educate and inform the client in the particular emerging technology, which is why I was at South by Southwest to kind of get a feel of where we're at as a group, where the industry is at, and if we are behind or ahead. To go back to what I do, a lot of 3D modeling, artist as a background, and if you want to check out any of the modeling for Grizz on the Dash Network, you can always get some pointers and tips as I walk you through some models and other techniques.
All right. Now, Grizz mentioned that it was our client. So, as well, you guys probably won't know, I do work with Grizz on stuff. I am logistical and technical support. So, I get the boring job. He gets the fun job. I get the make sure things work.
Hey, I can't have a fun job if my shit's broke. So you're the unsung hero.
This could possibly be true.
Sure, sure. To me, basically a place where people within the emerging technologies of AI, IoT, big data, AR, VR, MR, or whatever letter you want to put in front of R, to gather and kind of communicate and go through things, bounce things off of people, get informed of new technologies, new directions, see some of the, listen to some of the heavy hitters like Microsoft and companies of those natures, like giving you a heads up on like what they're working on, so it can give you a like a future plan. There's a lot of meetups, like meet and greets, small rooms where you were, in a relatively, small room with other developers, other people that do what you do, are interested in what you do, where you can kind of make, make connections, friends even, and also they had the fun aspect of it as well, where there was the concerts and the movies and stuff, where once you make these connections, there's places for everybody to kind of go and build that relationship a little more. But mainly it's a tech conference. People trying to mixture of people trying to inform each other, trying to sell each other stuff, and so on.
Cool. Cool. Now I know that there's also a very large presence of like it's a music festival because if I remember correctly, that's
Well, the
how it all
music was
started out back
sure,
in the
but
day.
at least here the music wasn't until later. Like I think so there were some places that started at 12 that were like confined within like a building, but most stuff was like later in the night, like after the sessions were done. Because if they had the music and stuff going during the day, nobody would have went to any of those sessions, and or if they did, they'd be wasted. Because I tell you what, alcohol in Texas is cheap.
Did you have a good time?
I got a chance to go to a couple of concerts. I had no idea who they were. I went to the Pandora one, and another sponsored South by Southwest one. Had no idea who the artists were. I got in first because I had the platinum badge, so I got to cut the line, which is dope. I think I paid like $6 for a whiskey on the rocks. Like it was ridiculous. And I didn't make it to any of the movies. I wanted to see two, which were Chi-Town and Clark. And the one time I was able to see one of them, uh, I ended up going to a concert instead, and I missed the Clark showing. And then, of course, I didn't get there till a week after the daggone thing started, so I missed all the Ready Player One stuff, which I was so upset about because I would have been able to be first in line with the Platinum Pass. So, rage, insult.
Yeah, I can't wait for that movie to come out. The book was fantastic.
I mean, everybody was talking about it. It was evidently it hit home with a lot of people there, and I mean, that entire place was full of tech people. So if you can impress an entire city of tech people, you know you made a good movie.
How long were you in? Well, it's in Austin, Texas. So how long were you down there?
So I was there from the 12th till yesterday. Actually, I flew back in. So I was there for mainly where all the for all the AR VR stuff, which makes sense because I'm the AR VR subject matter expert. So they sent me down there particularly for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I flew in Monday. Ended up going straight to the conference, anyways. I was there, so I basically showed up in the city Monday through Thursday, and then Friday morning I flew back home. Good amount of time. I was there for the entirety of the AR VR stuff. So.
What were your hours during the conference? Did you do one of those 15-hour days or?
No, it wasn't too bad. Our client is super cool. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better experience considering, we were there for work. We met up for breakfast at 8, got to the conference by 9. Basically was at the conference, well, kind of got our game plan together, went through some of our work emails and things of that nature. The doors for the conference opened up at 10. Did that for an hour, talked to some people, made some connections, and then either depending on what the sessions were. So sessions were from 11, at least mine were from 11 to 5. Uh, so from 11 to 5, depending on what they were, we either split up and went to different ones or we went to the same one. But by 5 o'clock, we met back up. We had some dinner, and then we were like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. So by 5, I was really cut loose to do whatever the hell I wanted after that. And that's usually when I went and found some music or something to do, or went to one of the lounges. I met a couple of people that got me into some like there was a Booze Allen guy that got me up into a Booze Allen party, which was pretty legit, just all free liquor and Booze Allen showing off some of their stuff. So that was neat.
All right, and Grizz, why don't you let me know what was your favorite conference panel thing that you saw at South by
Favorite session?
Southwest? Yep.
All right. Well, I'll break it up into two. We'll do my favorite session and the most useful session because they're not the same. And I'll tell you why. The session that really blew my mind was the Microsoft session. That was insane. And it wasn't just Microsoft. It was God, I forgot the other guy because Microsoft blew him out the water. I think he was just a dude from. I think he was from MIT. He was from a university or whatever. But so Microsoft with the HoloLens, not demo, not concept, but actually working because they demoed it there from a distance. I mean, a good like 20 yards away up to someone's face using a HoloLens. They can track your face, and by reading the blood flow in your face, can determine if you're scared, in pain, aroused, uh, happy, sad, depressed, everything. Like basically, they have this whole chart where your body reacts in a certain way to these emotions, and based off your facial blood flow, using facial recognition in the HoloLens, can immediately tell which one of those you are. So let me put this in perspective. If someone is sitting at the bar, right, and this chick walks in with the HoloLens on, turns her head to the left, she can immediately tell that she just got this dude's rocks off the moment she walked in. Like, that's how invasive this freaking thing is.
Very, very big brother. That's
Yeah. I mean, and then someone brought up the fact of that was like, hey, what are you guys doing about people using this the wrong way? And he goes on this thing about, well, then you'll start seeing the same kind of stuff like what you put in your wallets to keep you from scanning your cards. You'll just have some kind of facial thing that keeps people from reading your face. And I'm like, that's insane, dude. And I'm not talking concept, man. They had a demo of this. Like when they were done, people were lining up to use what they just explained. Like it exists now. So that was the one that really blew my mind, almost like had me on the edge of my seat.
let's talk about the Hololens
Sure,
because Hololens has actually been. I think it's been purchasable. Like, um, I don't think I think commercial came out in 2015 is,
sure.
and I'm pretty sure the development kit has been out. Shoo, I think since pre 2012.
Yeah,
I think if I remember correctly, it's around 3K a kit.
yeah.
Has uh has our client, let's say that, has our client had expressed interest in that?
No, so basically kind of how we're going is I mean, you've seen the charts in the wall. Um, it's all in the plans at some point, but the saying, if it's not useful immediately, we'll save it for when it's useful. So right now we're working on the two things that we're working on that are to basically kick a bunch of stuff off. So I believe yes, it's all the tech is in the plans. And obviously, if I run into an issue where we can't move forward unless I start messing with a specific piece of hardware or software, then absolutely. I mean, it'll take 5 seconds and I'll be able to order it and have it in that week. At the moment, no, because what we're doing, we don't need the HoloLens. It's not useful at the moment. There's no use case for what we're doing. But if a use case comes in and that is a solution, then yes, we will. So I think we're really just waiting on the solution. And to be honest with you, I mean, the HoloLens really is, you really got to have a particular use case for it. I mean, it's not end all technology. I mean, it's really, I mean, if you think about it, where we're at and how long this tech has been around, it's kind of disappointing if you think about it. I mean, it wasn't the HoloLens that was impressing me. It was what the hell Microsoft was doing with it. I mean, the software was way more advanced than the actual component. I mean, you could take that same software and put it on any glasses. The only thing is Microsoft has the HoloLens, so that's what they used.
Right, right. So I mean, they have the tool, but you think the software is not readily available for like mass development, kind of like
Oh no,
how
no, no.
open VR is. It's the here and now. Like you can pretty much most Joe schmoes they can pop up a tutorial and they can
Yeah,
get something out of it within a couple hours, whereas the AR, specifically the Hololens AR stuff, it's kind of far out of reach still.
yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, I don't see us having it anytime soon. Um, we don't need it. I mean, it's not like we don't know how to use it once it comes in. I mean, it's not like there'll be any learning curve. It's pretty straightforward once you get on it, especially if you've been around just the tech in general. So I think that's why we're not really worried because there's really not going to be any really huge learning curve in the end.
Now, are the HoloLenses, are they still semi
Yep.
bulky or are they
Yep.
more streamlined now?
I don't think they've changed at all, dude. So I mean, it was even hilarious at one point watching the Microsoft guy struggle using the HoloLens because he couldn't get the he couldn't get the hand motions working correctly. It was kind of humorous. And then also the Microsoft dude had a MacBook. He was using a MacBook while he was doing the Microsoft session, which was also I found pretty hilarious too.
All right. So, what was the your favorite one? Because that was the most useful one. What was your favorite one?
Well, no, swap. So that was the most useful. That was the my favorite session, and the most useful session was there was an AR VR gathering. Basically, they had a room, free booze, some snacks and stuff, and they just basically for an hour they gathered anybody who was some kind of augmented or virtual or mixed reality developer. I mean, I mean, if you're in the industry, mixed reality is pretty much AR, VR. Like it's not really its own thing, but whatever. We'll get to that later. Basically, a room where all these people sit in and you talk, have a beer, have some food, and you communicate. And that was extremely helpful. I got some really good insights. A couple people really reinforced my thoughts that I had brought up earlier, where we really need to start incorporating sound to really express the immersion that we're trying to create. Got really good insight on storytelling and how important it is, no matter what you're doing in 3D and in virtual or augmented reality. So basically, scripting out what you want the user to do using sound and using your visuals. So, for example, if you put them in a room and you want, instead of just putting them in a room with, let's just say, memory orb, instead of just putting them in a room with memory orb and just what you do is you put them in a plain room, you give that mystery, and then using sound like maybe a coming out the right side of your headset, you hear a click, which then forces a user to turn towards the click, and then you have like the Matrix style kind of orbs flying at you like those guns did, the gun racks and stuff, which then tells a story. So it's a simple story. User comes in, doesn't know where they're at, here's the click, looks to the right, orbs come flying in, which then puts their attention on the orbs, and now they're doing exactly what they were meant to do in there, which was grab an orb and view it. So that kind of stuff to really sell that immersion instead of just being visual. So I got a lot just talking to people who are just in the industry and just getting some good ideas. I passed some ideas to some people. I solved some problems for people while we were there. People solved problems for me, and I'm talking like in an hour. This was going on. I talked to maybe 12 to 13 different people who are doing exactly what I'm doing. Maybe not on the scale that I'm doing it on, or but within that realm, which was really, really, really helpful. So made some good connections, got some LinkedIn, some business cards, all that kind of jazz. So that was extremely helpful.
Nice. Now, when you were talking about the whole matrix and incorporating the audio, it sounds like that the industry is leaning back towards, let's say, that was probably around 98 to 2004, where the real peak of show, not tell, came
Yeah.
into play with the game industry. It sounds like the AR VR industry is trying to recapture that, but with a new dimension.
Well, what's actually upsetting, and you're probably going to get to that. Well, we could probably hit that now if you want, which was, I'm sure you're going to ask me what was the most disappointing part of the show. It's really the big hitters, man, are missing the point. I mean, all these ideas and stuff are from my generation, or from the people who are haven't quite, you know, aren't working for these huge companies. I was very, very disappointed with AMC and Lucasfilms. I mean, all these big time companies putting a lot of money in this in the industry. It's all visual. Nothing helps you. It's kind of like you put it on, yeah, that was cool, bro, and you're done. Um, there's very few companies that actually progress. Like I was really excited for Lowe's. Like Lowe's Hardware was one of the few companies there, which is hilarious because you don't see them as a tech company that were actually creating content that was helpful. It wasn't just for visual appease or just to kind of ooh and awe and then take them off, or it wasn't some kind of like half put together game that took like 5 weeks to make. You know what I mean? Like what they created was useful. You know what I mean? And she made a great point, which I love, where one of the panel members were asking her, well, how did you get people to accept AR VR? How did you sell the AR app to them? And she goes, we didn't. They don't, and her exact words is, "No one gives a shit about AR. All they cared is whatever I was showing them. Did it help them in their situation? And their situation is they were torn of did they really want to spend $30,000 on a new kitchen? So what she did is she sold them the solution, not the technology of, hey, I can allow you to see everything you're choosing right now in your actual kitchen. Download this app." And she was able to sit there and show them, look, all this 30K worth of stuff you want to put in your kitchen, here it is. It's in your kitchen now. You can use this AR app to see what your kitchen looks like, which gave them a better sense of what they were doing was the right decision or the wrong decision. But I thought that was ingenious. Like instead of going, hey, try our new Lowe's AR app, she didn't even use the word AR. She even used any of that. She sold them what Lowe's could do for them. And then once she sold them on that, she told them where to go to get that usefulness.
That's very interesting. That reminds me of the what is it, the OG IKEA IKEA tech demo, where they drop you into the virtual space where everything's IKEA furniture, and you can pull up the catalog and you can
Sure.
switch everything in real time. But the AR portion of it sounds really intriguing. So I'm imagining it's just probably overlaying
Yep.
what the 3D models over top of
Yeah.
all the
I
stuff.
mean, I mean, she had the dude that made the Walking Dead app sitting to her left of her, and she had Lucasfilms guy who did the Star Wars AR app sitting to the right of her, and she blew them away. It was like the other two were just selling me on like, oh yeah, cool. Like when I turn my phone on and the Walking Dead jingle comes on, a zombie walks across the room. Like great. That doesn't even help me. If the zombie apocalypse happened right now, that still does not help me. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, but to be fair though, the Walking Dead guy did give us. I did get to see a sneak preview of the second version of the app where you'll actually be able to grab AR weapons and swing around an AR weapon which in the AR realm and kill zombies. So if you hold your phone up and hold your hand in front of it, you'll actually be holding a weapon, an AR, killing zombies. So that was relatively neat, and that's coming out soon. So I got to see a sneak peek on that. So I'll give them half credit that they're trying. I mean, it doesn't help me in real life, but at least if the zombie apocalypse happened right now, it's some sort of benefit to download that app.
Sounds like a real easy way to smack a significant other in your
Oh
house.
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, the trailer is neat because at the end of the trailer, it showed the two people who were using the app. So it showed them using it, but in like this real like intense world. And then at the end, the tense world is gone, and they're just two people standing in a grocery store looking at their phone, and everybody's just staring at them like they're weirdos. It was pretty funny.
All right. What was your? Because I know there's a lot of other things, unwork related
Sure.
up at South by Southwest. What was your favorite non-work related exhibit or session or whatever?
Uh, I actually was. I think it was Wednesday. I didn't want to go back to my hotel. We were done around four. It was probably one of the earlier days. We were done around 4:45, and so I just started walking around the city, and I found this little It was not probably not little. More people probably know what it is. I'd never been there, but it was floppy disk repair. They had a band up on top of their rooftop, and they were just jamming, man, rocking out. Good band. I walked in and sat there for a few hours, listening to band, drinking, and it was a good time. I haven't had that kind of live good music and during the day too, because usually like stuff like that's not till later. I mean, I tell you, Austin, Texas started early. I mean, people were partying at like 4. So like the sun was out, it was 72 degrees. I was on a rooftop drinking a couple beers, listening to a live band. Like that was probably one of my more at peace moments there without being stressed and worried about getting from session to session, trying to write things down, uh assuring people. I set the 360 camera up, so in a lot of the sessions, so like when people view it, they can look like they're in a session with me. So between fighting with people, telling them, look, I'm not interested in you in video, or people yelling at me for putting a camera in front of them. So it was more of my at peace moment. So I'd say that.
That's good. That's good. Was there any other good notes that you have from the conference?
The good thing is we are actually as our situation sets, we are actually ahead of the curve. I think right now, even with the simple things we're doing, if we had our own booth, our own session, we would have blown a lot of these people out the water. So the good news is we're not even close to being behind. We're actually probably leading in a lot of categories, which was good. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away. And I think that's kind of what our client was trying to look at too, is if we're behind. And I don't think we're behind. I mean, some of the conversations we've had in office, the big hitters were word from word repeating what was coming out of our client's mouth and our mouths 2 months ago. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
if we're not ahead of the curve, we're right there with everybody else, which is good news.
It's a good thing to be on the leading edge, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is the problem. What's missing is everybody. We have the tech and we can do everything we need. No one's focusing it on anything useful. Like I was extremely upset when I went to one where it was new. It was AR/VR for news and journalism. Not one person on that panel creating any kind of AR experience where you could image capture the front of a newspaper or magazine and actually get news and information. Like, you know how simple that would be and cost you almost nothing? And you're telling me you can't develop an app that image tracks your front page. So when I put my AR camera over top of it, it gives me a rundown of what's in your newspaper and what stories are exciting and really sells me on buying that newspaper or that magazine. And I mean, and you know where this conversation is coming from what we're doing in particular. But do you see how simple that is? And we're just focusing a very small part of AR to a very large whole, which is educating using image tracking.
Right. It sounds like we need to. Well, it sounds like the next really big step is to start filling all those gaps. Now everyone's doing,
Sure.
specific stuff like Microsoft doing their thing, which is relevant to them and their
Yes,
shareholders.
exactly.
Lowe's doing their thing, it's relevant to their shareholders, but it's not really how does this affect the general public? Because I mean, let's take the Lowe's one. All right, I finished remodeling my kitchen. Your thing is now no longer relevant to me.
Yep.
So at any one point in time, there may be 4,000 people that it's relevant to, but
Yeah.
past that, that's
Yeah, you
it.
make a good point.
And then like the Microsoft one, it's relevant to probably
It's
somewhere in
relevant
the
until the
range.
military gets a hold of it and no one else gets to have it.
Well, people will have it, but it'll be like $400,000 a license or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, that's outside of that industry, There may be 40,000 people who need that across the globe, but then there's still a couple, like let's conservatively say there's like 3 billion other people who are like, I need an AR experience that I can actually do something with, but there's nothing for them. So even something simple like, hey, you could put your phone up to the, like you were saying, put your phone up to the newspaper, tells you the relevant articles.
Yeah.
That's something a normal person could use instead of a giant conglomerate.
Yeah, so, but that was kind of what my take and my overall arching experience. Yeah, it was fun. It was very informative. But in hindsight, it was disappointing too. I felt like honestly, as of now, after coming with South by Southwest, the statement that 2018 was going to be the explosion year for this technology, I would right now, as of now, put a false on that statement. I do not believe that 2018 will be the explosion year for AR VR. I think majority of the industry is very stuck in this web of just visual content and not actual beneficial content. And I think we're going to be stuck in that web at least for majority of this year. If anything started to break through, it'd be towards the end. And if it's towards the end, I don't think you can accurately say that 2018 was an explosion year if it doesn't come out till November, December. I would put it at 2019 or maybe even further at 2020.
Right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your overall experience? Now, not saying particularly like how well it benefited your work or how well, just
Yeah.
overall, how did you feel about the conference on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say about 8. I think the game day kind of put it up there as well. I mean, pro tip: if you can get on the student pass, get the student pass. No need to buy that platinum pass unless you're trying to cut lines. You could probably have just as much fun. There was really nothing I went into that I had to have the platinum pass. I just kind of let me skip lines, but you go on a student pass or maybe even one of the cheaper passes and check it out. It's definitely worth it if you're in this kind of emerging technology. It's definitely worth going, and you'll get a lot of benefit from. So I would say an 8. Not a must go, but you should at least consider it. And if you do go, you won't regret it.
All right. So based on the overall technical presence, how impressed were you with the technologies presented to you at South by Southwest on a scale of 1 to 10?
3.
Damn, that's low.
I mean, it's at one point one dude was showing me his simulation he made, and it was literally the Vive controller with the stupid torch casing around it, and I charged up a fireball and threw it at this I'm doing air quotes right now, this monster, and that was his simulation. I was just I was like, why? I'm just like, why? So yeah, no, I was impressed. A 3. I was not impressed at all. I think I was more impressed talking with like people of my level that weren't working for the giant companies and up on the session panels than I was actually with the people on the session panels.
That's understandable.
And let me explain to you. I hit every single one of I maybe hit probably 80% of AR/VR stuff. The only reason why I didn't hit the last 20% is because they went on at the exact same time as other things, and I picked the more interesting sounding one when they crossed over. So I was at from 10 a.m. to 5 was at almost every single one of them. So I missed barely any of the AR/VR stuff.
So Grizz, tell me about the people you met and who was the coolest person you met at this South by Southwest.
All right. Well, at first, before the last day, was probably the booze guy, just because Booze Allen guy got me booze. So you gotta
What is Booze Allen?
yeah. So that was good. But however, coming in towards the end, just before we crossed the finish line, I actually met the gentleman, and I have his card somewhere. I like to give him a shout out. He's super cool. I doubt he'll hear this podcast, but just in case, if you guys are in Austin, Straight Light is a VR bar where you can get drinks and play VR. Which opens, I believe he said in 6 months. He gave me a sneak peek of his layout and stuff. Looks super cool, guys. He was a great dude. I mean, great to approach. I think it's him and a partner, so he's the owner of the bar. His name is Matt. So Starlight in Austin, Texas. Owner's name is Matt. Good guy. Shout out to him. He's probably one of my favorite people I met there.
All right. Any other
All right.
remarks, or you want to close this bad boy out?
No. Check out our Dash gaming streams. RT and I we game, and sometimes we bring in some of our guest gamers, Soul and Tron. So check us out when we game, and check out Modeling with Grizz if you want any tips and tricks on how to do some simulation stuff. If it's art, code, setting up scenes, email us, email me, email Dash, and we'll put together a video for you if we can. Um, but yeah, that's about it.
All right. It's been fun. See you next time.